It started with a scarf. That's the part that sticks with me even now. Not the screaming, not the confrontation, not the thousand little betrayals that would come later. Just a forgotten piece of fabric. A soft, burgundy scarf with frayed edges and the faint scent of vanilla and jasmine. Her perfume, always a little too sweet for winter. She left it hanging on the back of the chair by the fireplace. A careless thing, really. People forget things all the time. But Ashley? Ashley never forgot. She was the kind of woman who could remember what brand of pepper we bought 3 months ago, who scheduled our dentist appointments a year in advance and texted me reminders like she was my assistant, not my wife. So no, the scarf wasn't forgotten. It was left. It was Christmas Eve, and she just left for her mom's. That's what she told me, anyway. A tight hug at the door, the kind that felt more like an obligation than affection. She said she'd be back in 2 days, maybe 3, depending on the snow. Her words, not mine. That night, I lit the fire, poured a glass of wine, and sat in silence. I didn't turn on the TV. I didn't touch my phone. Just sat there, watching the flames chew through the logs, wondering why something in the air felt off, like the house was holding its breath. And then, the knock. It was soft, hesitant. I opened the door and blinked against the snowlight. There she stood, not Ashley, but her mother, wrapped in a puffy coat, cheeks flushed from the cold, carrying a casserole dish like it was a peace offering. Her expression was the first crack in my world. "Where is she?" she asked, stepping inside. I frowned. "What do you mean?" "She said she was going to your place." Ashley's mother froze, her eyes darting around the living room as if expecting her daughter to pop out from behind the Christmas tree. "No," she said, her voice suddenly thin. "I thought she was spending Christmas with you." And that was when the room tilted. I didn't say anything, just stared at her. She looked confused. I looked calm. On the outside, anyway. But inside, my stomach dropped into some black pit that hadn't existed 5 seconds ago. I walked to the chair, picked up the scarf. Still warm, almost. Like it had been wrapped around a lie that hadn't cooled yet. Then I did the only thing that made sense. I opened her laptop. You know that feeling you get when you already know what you're going to find, but some part of you is praying for a miracle? That was me. A man not looking for answers, but for reasons not to believe the ones already whispering in his ear. Her browser was still open. A travel confirmation email. Hotel booking. Downtown. 2 nights. King suite. Complimentary breakfast. She even added rose petals to the room. That detail stung more than I expected. And then came the photos. The ones saved in a folder called Work Trip. I guess she thought that would be enough to throw me off. Neat little thumbnails, her in a hotel mirror, posing with a glass of wine. Him, blurry in the background, shirtless, holding her waist like it was his birthright. No captions. Just stories I didn't want to read. I closed the laptop gently. Like it was fragile. Like I wasn't. I looked at the scarf again. Burgundy. Vanilla. Jasmine. The smell of betrayal. Her mother stood there, still confused, still waiting. I looked at her, and something about the way her face crumbled, the way her eyes filled with this quiet, maternal ache, told me she hadn't known either. Which made it worse, somehow. Ashley lied to both of us. Not just to me. I poured a second glass of wine. Offered it to her. She declined. "Guess it's just me tonight," I said. And it was. Christmas Eve, fireplace crackling, one wine glass half full, the other untouched. A scarf draped over the arm of a chair like a red flag I should have seen months ago. The best gifts, they say, come wrapped. But that night, I unwrapped the truth. And that was the moment the story really began. The message stayed on my screen longer than it should have. I didn't touch it. Didn't blink. Just stared at that caption. "He said you'd never find out." Not she. He. That's how I knew it wasn't a threat. It was a breadcrumb. And someone out there wanted me to follow the trail. Now, I'm not the kind of guy who jumps to conclusions. I built my life on patience, on staying composed when it matters. But betrayal? That'll turn even the calmest man into an archaeologist, digging for every lie, brushing dirt off every little detail until the whole thing is unearthed. So I started digging. First, I checked the number. No name attached. Just digits. A local area code. Burner, probably. Then the photo, Ashley in a silky black dress I'd never seen before, sitting at the edge of a hotel bed like she was posing for a magazine that sold both lingerie and lies. The sheets behind her were wrinkled. There was a half-eaten room service tray on the nightstand, champagne glasses in the background. One glass had lipstick. One didn't. I zoomed in. Not for the lipstick, for the reflection. Mirror on the far wall. Barely visible, but enough. A man's shoulder. Tattooed. I knew that ink. Chase. Of course it was Chase. Ashley's colleague. The one who just gets her. The one she swore was like a brother. Well, unless I missed something, most brothers don't book king suites with rose petals. Unless we're rewriting the whole family tree. I scrolled through our old texts. Ashley had mentioned Chase once. Quick message, casual. Dinner ran late. Chase was there, of course. He's such a character. Yeah, so is Loki. But this wasn't about him, not yet. I needed to know what game was being played. Someone sent that message. Someone wanted me to see it. And it wasn't Ashley. So who? A friend? A mistake? A guilty conscience? I didn't reply. Not yet. Instead, I opened a new tab and searched the hotel name from the booking. Downtown. Not far. 5-star. The kind of place with glass elevators and a scent in the lobby that makes you feel underdressed no matter what you're wearing. I grabbed my coat. Not to go storming in. I'm not a cliché. No, I had a better plan. I just needed to confirm the details. And if I could get a glimpse of that suite, even better. But before I left, I noticed something else. The scarf was gone. It had been there. I was sure of it. Draped over the chair. But now? Just the indentation, like the ghost of a decision. My first thought, her mom took it. Maybe she picked it up while I was distracted. But then I checked the hallway. The coat rack. The guest room. Nothing. It vanished. Like her guilt got cold feet. That's when the hairs on my neck stood up. I wasn't alone. I stepped quietly into the kitchen. Nothing. Checked the back door, still locked. But the patio light was on. I never leave it on. Someone had been here. I picked up my phone. Heart a steady drumbeat now. New message. Same number. You deserve better. She's lying about more than just Christmas. No punctuation. No name. Just a whisper from the dark. I stood there for a long time, phone in hand, the fireplace cracking behind me, the room colder than it should have been. That scarf? It was her tell. A flag. Maybe even a warning. But now it was gone. And someone else, not her, had taken it. That was the night I realized the betrayal wasn't just between her and Chase. There were more players in this story. And someone, somewhere, was ready to talk. The concierge stood like he'd just been told to deliver a bomb disguised as a love letter. Are you Logan Grant? He asked, eyes scanning the interior behind me like he half expected a camera crew to jump out and yell surprise. Yeah, I said, slowly. He handed over a thick envelope, hotel branded, sealed with a red wax stamp that screamed I'm important and you're about to hate everything inside me. It was left at the front desk. Instructions were to deliver it personally. By who? She didn't give a name. Just said you'd understand. I nodded. Didn't thank him. Just closed the door and stood there, envelope in hand, as if weight had suddenly become emotional. I sat on the couch and peeled back the seal. Inside, photos. Real ones. Not digital. Not screenshots. Printed. Hotel suite. Ashley. Chase. Different angles. Different days. And then a Christmas tree. Decorated. Lit. Set up in the corner of the suite. It was ours. I stared at it, dumbfounded. Same ornaments. Same crooked gold star on top that Ashley always said we'd replace but never did because it is character. Even the little dog ornament I'd bought during our first year together, the one that looked like our old beagle. She recreated our Christmas tree. In their hotel room. And then she posed beside it. In the sweater I got her last year. Smiling like the betrayal wasn't just intentional, it was curated. There was a note, too. Handwritten. Merry Christmas, Logan. You always said the truth was a gift. So here it is, fully unwrapped. No signature. Just that. My hand shook a little. Not from rage, no, that part had passed. This was something colder. More surgical. Like grief had gone to medical school and learned how to cut deeper. I flipped through the rest of the envelope. One picture caught my breath mid-sentence. Ashley. In bed. Hair down. Eyes half closed. But it wasn't the intimacy that got me. It was the necklace. Gold. Simple. A single small charm. I recognized it instantly. Because I bought it. Not for her, but for someone else. Someone I hadn't seen in over 6 years. Her sister. Natalie. There it was. The missing puzzle piece that didn't just fit. It cracked the whole picture. See, 6 years ago, Natalie and I were close. Not that kind of close, but close enough that Ashley didn't like it. Said she didn't trust Natalie. Said Natalie had a tendency to get attached. Natalie moved to Colorado. Cold air, clean start. We lost touch. I figured Ashley had been right, that Natalie just needed space. But now here she was, showing up in this image like a ghost with a key to a tomb I hadn't realized was mine. That necklace? It wasn't a coincidence. It was a breadcrumb. And suddenly, I understood. Ashley wasn't just cheating with Chase. She was collaborating with Natalie. And someone, maybe Natalie, maybe someone else entirely, wanted me to know. I picked up my phone and opened my texts. New message. Same number as before. Check the hotel registry. Room 1403. December 23rd through 26th. I didn't need to ask why. I just grabbed my coat, keys, and walked out into the cold, envelope in one hand, betrayal in the other. And as I stepped into my car, one thought played on repeat. She didn't just lie. She rehearsed it. The woman at the hotel front desk smiled like I was just another guest with holiday cheer in my heart, not a husband about to walk into the ash heap of his own marriage. Welcome to the Carlton. Do you have a reservation with us tonight, sir? No, I said, but I think someone checked in using the name A. Grant. She tilted her head, fingers tapping her keyboard. Let me see. A pause. Her eyes flicked up. And your relationship to the guest? There it was. The trapdoor of truth. She's my wife, I said, voice flat. Or at least, she used to be. That changed everything. Her fingers paused mid-keystroke. She gave me that oh no, he found out look, polite, but bracing. Like a nurse about to tell you the test results aren't great. But hey, you're still breathing. Ah, yes. Miss Grant checked out this morning, she said, voice tight. Of course she did. But that wasn't the part that twisted the knife. It was what she said next. She left something behind. Said it was to be handed off only if someone came asking under that name. My pulse kicked. She reached under the counter and slid over a small box. Wrapped. Ribbon and everything. Like I'd won the most tragic game of Secret Santa. I took it. No questions. Drove home in silence. Sat at the kitchen table with the box in front of me like it might explode. It didn't. But what was inside sure did. A Polaroid. Old school. No filter. No Photoshop. Just raw exposure and betrayal. Ashley, standing in front of a window, wearing my hoodie, the gray one she always said was too frumpy with nothing underneath. Bare legs. Christmas lights twinkling outside the glass. And Chase, standing behind her. Not touching. Just there. Smirking. A mirror caught both their reflections, and her expression was what did it. She wasn't drunk. She wasn't crying. She wasn't remorseful. She was proud. Underneath the photo, she'd written, Merry Christmas, Logan. You were right. The best gift is truth. I finally unpacked it. And she even had the audacity to quote me. Like betrayal was some punchline we could share over eggnog. I stared at that box for a long time. Then I pulled out the rest. There was a card. One of those tacky holiday ones with snowmen and glitter. On the inside, a message. Please don't come looking. We're happy. You should be too. I never meant to hurt you. I just wanted to feel alive again. You stopped trying. I couldn't wait any longer for a version of you that never came. And beneath it was a hotel key. Room 1403. She left it. On purpose. Like an artist signing her work. I turned the key in my hand. Heavy. Cold. Engraved with her initials. The story wasn't just a betrayal. It was a performance. A show staged down to the final act. The tree. The photos. The Polaroid. And now, the encore, a little key to a room filled with ghosts. I poured a drink. Sat in the dark. This wasn't about Chase anymore. Chase was just the actor she cast for the part. The real betrayal? It was her. Ashley, the director of the whole damn play. And I was the only one who never saw the script. The Carlton looked different at night. Lit from within, it glowed like a snow globe, peaceful from the outside. But inside? A swirl of chaos, secrets, and overpriced minibars. I stepped through the revolving doors at 6:59 p.m. sharp. I wasn't early because I was eager. I was early because I didn't trust her. Natalie, Ashley's little sister. The so-called black sheep of the family. The one who moved away for college and never looked back. She always had that wildfire streak, all sharp edges and one-liners. The kind of woman who could burn your house down and still convince the fire department it was your fault for storing matches. I hadn't seen her in 6 years. And now she wanted to meet in the same hotel her sister used to stage a betrayal? This had Netflix drama written all over it. She was sitting in the lobby bar. Red leather booth. A drink in her hand that didn't look weak. She saw me coming and gave a slow smile, not kind, not cruel. Just deliberate. "Logan," she said, like we were old friends meeting for brunch. "You look worse than your Christmas card photos, and those were already depressing." I slid into the booth, not smiling. "Why am I here?" She swirled her drink like she was consulting the ice cubes. "Because Ashley always underestimated you. And Chase thinks this ends with a couple of hotel nights and a shared Spotify playlist." I leaned back. "And you? What do you think?" She looked up, eyes sharp, unblinking. "I think you're the only one who hasn't hit back yet. And I want in." I blinked. "You want to help me get revenge on your sister?" She shrugged. "She deserves it. Bit cold, don't you think? Blood and all." Natalie smirked. "Ashley stopped being my sister when she sent me that photo." My stomach tightened. "The Polaroid?" She nodded. "She texted it to me. On Christmas. No caption. Just that. As if rubbing it in was some kind of festive tradition. She knew what Chase meant to me." "Wait. What? You and Chase?" "3 years ago," she said, sipping her drink. "Before he ever worked with her. We dated. Sort of." I used the term generously. He was cocky, manipulative, always performing. I broke it off. She exhaled hard, like the memory still tasted bitter. "I told Ashley to stay away from him. She said she'd never even talk to him." Swore up and down. Then a year later, she bumps into him at a networking mixer and plays it off like fate. "So this wasn't just a betrayal," I said. "It was a collection." Natalie's eyes met mine. "And now it's a reckoning." I didn't speak. Didn't move. I just listened. Because for the first time in this whole mess, someone wasn't lying to me. She reached into her coat and slid over a flash drive. Everything you need. Screenshots. Messages. Even voice memos. She vented to me when she thought I was on her side. Chase did too. Dumb of them. I picked it up slowly. "And what do you want in return?" Natalie smiled, but this one wasn't soft. "I want front row seats. That's all. I want to watch her face when the curtain drops." There was a pause. Then she added, "And Logan, whatever you're planning, make it smart. Make it quiet. Make it unforgettable." I left the hotel with the drive in my pocket and one thought in my head. She played the wrong sister. And now, I wasn't the only one she'd underestimated. I stared at the file. Confession, play if he ever finds out. There's a moment right before you open something like that, where the world stands still, and you wonder if maybe ignorance was the better deal. But I clicked it anyway. Of course I did. Because men like me don't walk away from the fire. We sit in it. Until it speaks. Ashley's voice, soft at first. Nervous. Then steadier. Almost smug. "If you're hearing this." I guess Logan found out. And by found out, I mean someone probably showed him, because let's be honest, he was never going to connect the dots himself. A pause. A light laugh. My stomach twisted. I didn't do this to be cruel. I did this because I was dying. Every day, I woke up and felt smaller. Like I didn't exist. And Chase? He made me feel like I mattered again. Another pause. This one deeper. Sadder. But here's the part one know will hurt most. I planned it. Logan. I planned all of it. The hotel. The photos. Even the scarf I left at home. I wanted you to see it. To feel it. Because you made me invisible for too long. And I wanted you to look. There it was. Not a mistake. Not an affair. A message. A slow war declared over the years. Brick by brick. Smile by smile. Until the house collapsed. I closed the file. My face numb. My jaw set. She wanted me to look? Fine. I'd give her a whole audience. I spent the next 2 days in the garage, not tinkering. Planning. Natalie had given me access to Ashley's private folder synced to the cloud. Photos. Chats. Her digital trophy room. One gem stood out, a calendar invite. Dinner with Chase. January 6th. 7 p.m. Elite Lounge. Private room 4C. Perfect. I called the restaurant. Reserved the room directly under her name, a little early. Told them to expect a romantic proposal and to prepare accordingly. Then I sent the invitations. Printed. Hand-delivered. Sealed with a red wax stamp just like hers. To her coworkers. Her friends. Her parents. One simple message inside. You're cordially invited to witness the moment where truth meets performance. Room 4C. 7 p.m. sharp. And beneath that, just one signature. The husband. January 6th. Snow fell like someone upstairs had a flair for drama. I arrived early. Took the seat farthest from the door. Lights dimmed. Candles lit. A waiter handed me water like I was royalty. One by one, they came. Confused. Dressed for an event they didn't understand. Her mother walked in first, then a coworker or two. A friend who used to text me birthday wishes before she stopped pretending I existed. 7:03 p.m. The door opened. Ashley entered, arm looped with Chase. She stopped cold, saw the crowd, saw me. For the first time in months, she looked speechless. What is this?" she asked. I stood slowly, calm, no theatrics, just poise sharpened to a razor's edge. "It's your truth party," I said. "You wanted me to look? Well, now everyone's looking." The screen behind me flickered on. A slideshow. Nothing vulgar. No revenge porn. Just moments. Photos. Quotes. Timelines. Her confession, transcribed, framed beautifully in gold serif font. She stared at the screen like it might devour her. Chase stepped back like he smelled smoke. Someone gasped. Her mother whispered her name. I let it all hang there, not to humiliate her, but to reveal her. She played her game with cold precision. But tonight, I set the stage. When it ended, I walked up to her, handed her a small envelope. Inside, a postcard. Simple. White. No stamp needed. The best gift is truth. I've already unpacked it. I didn't stay for the fallout. I walked out as she stood frozen, her reputation unraveling behind her like ribbon from a torn gift box. The days after were quiet. Too quiet. She tried to call. I didn't answer. She emailed. Apologies. Explanations. None of them worth opening. Chase. He went radio silent. Coward couldn't handle the stage when the lights turned. Her friends? They fractured like glass. Turns out, betrayal doesn't look as good in daylight. Natalie and I met again. Same booth. Same bar. She raised her glass. Well, that was biblical. I don't want revenge anymore, I said. She tilted her head. You sure? Because that looked like it tasted pretty good. It did, I said. But I'm full now. The divorce was fast. Turns out, when everyone's seen the receipts, negotiations go smoother. I kept the house. The car. She took the silence. I never screamed. Never threw things. Never played victim. Because real revenge is surviving. It's thriving quietly while they crumble loudly. A month later, I got one last envelope. No return address. Inside was the original Polaroid, the one from the hotel room. But someone had scratched out Chase's face with a pen. Over and over until the photo tore. No note. Just damage. I placed it in the fireplace and watched it curl to ash. Sometimes closure doesn't come with an apology. Sometimes it comes wrapped in flame. And as I watched it burn, I finally felt it. Not victory. Not joy. Just peace. And if you've ever known betrayal, you know, that's the rarest gift of all.